Now that Boris, our great spiritual leader, has finally resigned, I thought I'd do this poem as a tribute and farewell. It's called "O Boris, our Saviour from COVID," and the subtitle is "It's my party and I'll lie if I want to." Oh Boris, our saviour from COVID, you managed the crisis so well. To begin with, you went off on holiday as the rest of us went off to hell. 'Cause you knew that you needed a jolly to make yourself jolly well fit, ready to take on the virus like a Brit, full of grit and bullshit. You ducked out of 5 Cobra meetings, then returned with your bluster and bluff. You bragged about hospital handshakes and said our supplies were enough, that our gloves, gowns and masks were all top notch, even though there were millions not right, that we must thank the doctors and nurses, no pay rise, just a clap on Thursday night. Next up, you freed up some bed space as you sent 25,000 home. Old folk infecting the care homes or marching round gardens alone. Meanwhile, the airport stayed open and thousands flew in down the days. We thought Brexit meant close the borders, but we let in Chinese takeaways. On the home front, we had track and trace now, a world-beating system, you said. But sadly, the 3 blokes it tracked down were all in a graveyard and dead. And so it went on through the plague year, with lockdowns and speeches and stats. Loo rolls were on the black market, and folk knitted masks for their cat. The number 10 rules became jumbled, hands, knees, bumpsy daisy, or die. And you were always behind the curve of a breast or a bum or a thigh. No 2-metre rule for your mistresses, but the rest of us all did our best, except of course dominant Cummings, who went for his Durham eye test. Lockdowns were late, rules came and went, we stayed home no matter how pokey. The pub crowds and school kids went in, out, like a farcical grim okey cokey. Then Eat Out to Help Out brought hope, and we scoffed ourselves stupid each day as we tried to revive the economy till the COVID again made us pay. But Boris, you still posed as guardian, and although we were lost in a fog, you led our great nation like Churchill, albeit like Churchill the dog. You stood like a blonde British bulldog, and although you appeared barking mad, we really had no choice but listen when you told us that things weren't so bad, that the Nightingale hospitals flourished, even though there was no one inside, that Britain was clearly on top of the world, if only in how many died, that the vaccines were rolled out to save us, though that was the science, not you, that we splashed out the cash by the billion, though clearly you frittered a few. The debt now will last into decades, but so will our memories too. We'll always recall the mess of it all, and there in the middle will be you. We'll remember your chuntering speeches and the way you kept changing your mind. We'll remember the fiddled statistics as the cabinet blind led the blind. We'll remember the key workers travelling, all squashed inside buses and trains. We'll remember the Downing Street parties while people died lonely in pain. We'll remember Chris Whitty, Matt Hancock, Rishi Sunak, with more guff and gas, how each was your faithful disciple, or more often, just another silly ass. Lastly, we'll always remember how you too were struck by the plague, but how you were then resurrected, looked after by Nurse William Hague, how you rose from the dead just like Jesus, as the people all clapped full of joy. But not for you, Boris, for the whole NHS, because you're not the Messiah, you're a very naughty boy.